Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Global Door TC412 slim cover adjustable door closer with a back check. So this is obviously what you're going to get when you order one of these. We're going to start this video by taking a tour of all the included components. Okay, and obviously first it's going to be the business end of this closer. And of course by that I mean the closer body. There it is. Modern style sort of closer body. Very typical, very common. Well, forgive me, not typical and common. This footprint hole pattern, the footprint is, in my experience, possibly atypical. However, and we're going to get to that footprint in a moment, if you're looking to replace a door closer with this footprint, this is possibly the one you need. This or some the other closer from the TC400 series. So you have this long aluminum alloy shell door closer body. Aluminum alloy versus cast iron, it's certainly not nearly as heavy. Okay, and actually the entire door closer weighs 7 pounds with the box, with the arm, etc. Okay. On this closer, you're going to have three valves. Let's go over them now. You've got 15 to 0, 15 to 180, and BC. You have 0 to 15. That is a reference to the degrees of the opening, obviously 180. Okay, 0 to 15 is what we would call the latching valve. That valve just controls at 0 to 15 degree. The 15 to 180, well, really 15 to about 90, is the sweep area. Okay. The BC is a reference to the back check. The back check is a valve that kicks in at about 95 degree and is specifically intended for opening the door, and if some wind catches the door, it will help arrest the door from continuing through its cycle out to whatever will stop it, a wall, a door, the templating of the door closer is really what I mean to say. So back check is intended for that. It's not a dead stop at all. It's just intended to help arrest that opening cycle. We'll talk more about that stuff in a moment. Then you're going to have your spring tension down here at the end. This is inherently a delayed action sort of door closer, okay, that you will be able to control the entire cycle. You're going to want to set that latching valve to close in about the same amount of time as it takes to get from, let's say, 90 to 15. Close and then really nice and soft at the end. So that's the closer body. We'll touch on those topics again when we get to the installation instructions. You have the main arm and the forearm of the door closer, typical, common sort of design construction with the threaded feature to the forearm. Okay, that's going to give your final adjustment based on your templating. You're going to have the parallel arm bracket. Okay, we'll discuss why it's called parallel arm bracket in a moment. With the TC400 series, it is a closer that features a full cover, a plastic cover. It's a full cover. Very nice and attractive, and allows you to really make that otherwise industrial looking closer look a bit more architecturally pleasing. That dresses it off really nice. Now all of a sudden, with the inclusion of that closer cover, you might say to yourself, oh, I've seen that closer before. They're very typically installed with the cover on. And then last but not least is going to be both the package of fasteners. You'll be able to attach this to wood or steel. And then, of course, the Allen wrench that allows you to adjust the spring tension. This is an adjustable closer and can help work on a range of doors, and we're going to talk about that now. So anyway, before we get to the installation instructions, this is a grade 1 closer. That means it's been tested to 1,000,000 cycles. That's the highest grade, and dollar for dollar, this is a tremendously good option, high performance sort of door closer, and very much on a reasonable sort of budget. UL listed, complies with UL 10C for positive pressure applications. If you're looking for hardware that's positive pressure, you'll already have known that up front because your door opening will be a positive pressure required assembly. This is compliant with that. Aluminum alloy shell, completely non-handed, totally reversible, features that narrow style cover. This model specifically is adjustable spring power from doors that would be appropriate for a size 2 spring to a size 6 spring, and that's really the largest spring that you'd ever encounter, and we're going to talk about that when we get to the installation instructions. 3 independent regulating valves that control sweep, latch, and back check. So sweep, latch, and back check. Tri-packed regular arm, top jam mount, and parallel arm can all be done. Supplied with all machine and wood screws. If you're putting this down to anything wood, you've got wood screws included. Anything that is metal, it's expected that your door has been drilled in, your door and frame have been reinforced so that you can drill and tap. You're really going to need for that to be a reality before installing a door closer to a door, to expect a good long lifespan of operation. It's available in aluminum, which obviously this closer is, dark bronze, and gold as well. It's all sprayed finishes on the aluminum or plastic or steel parts. Now, there are links below this video, and the one that we're really going to talk about first are the installation instructions. Regardless of the door closer type, you're always going to be faced with a very generic sort of understanding of door closers, and really only the specific nuances of that door closer is where you might need to deviate from a standard understanding, a common understanding of door closure instructions. You're always going to have a summary page that will probably show the parts, will describe regular arm, top jam, and parallel arm mounting. You'll always have that on one page or spread out on other pages, but parts, then the differences, there might be a handing chart. You will then have 3 pages, each of them being regular arm mount, top jam mount, and parallel arm mount. And there could even be another side to all of this that gives specific requirements of what this closer is. However, for this closer, it is indeed a 4-page installation. Page 1 shows you what regular arm, which they call standard installation, top jam, and parallel arm will look like. Here's what it is. If you're installing the door closer body onto the door, on the push side, that's parallel arm. If you're installing the door closer onto the body onto the door, on the pull side, that's the standard or regular arm. If the door closer body is going to the header, that's a top jam mount. So decide at this point how you're installing it, and then once you know one of those 3 ways, immediately proceed to that page of the installation instructions. Sure, you might want to familiarize yourself with all the parts that are involved, understand what the name is, but you immediately move to that method of installation. Now, the only time you're going to use this is when body is on the door and you're on the push side. That's the parallel arm mount. That basically means you're going to remove this soffit shoe and you're going to connect this hub down to this post, and you're going to use it as shown, well, like this, okay? That will be called out on the installation instructions. For purposes of this video, let's just look at the regular arm. It doesn't really matter. We can look at any of them because all I'm going to touch on is, the common sort of understandings or fundamentals. When installing a door closer, all that you really need to follow are a couple of two dimensions to get started. The first one, and I'm looking at the standard installation page in the installation instructions, and that is going to be the reference from the center line of the hinge to the very first center line of the holes. That dimension is called out below and is either one of 2 dimensions directly related to the degree of opening. If you're going for an up to 120 degree opening, that first dimension is going to be 6 3/16. If you need to get out to 180 degree, you're going to be at 4 3/4 inch, meaning The closer the body is to the hinge, the vertical axis of pivoting, the greater the greater degree of opening the door will be able to accomplish. That's what it is. It's very often that these will be installed, and it's not exactly as the template shows. The dimension could be far different in either direction, but following the template is really the way to go. So you've got your horizontal dimension once you know the degree of opening. And regardless of the method of installation, that's the first thing you have to know. Then the other important dimension is referencing from either the top of the door to the top of the first screw, and in this case that is that dimension. So they're calling out 1 inch from the top of the door to the center line of this hole. So at this point you've got your first hole marked. It's crucial that the horizontal dimension be accurate, but you can get the sense that that can be a little bit off and really not be an issue. However, that vertical dimension, it's not true to say the same. You need to have that vertical dimension accurate, and all dimensions, because you cannot suffer that door closer arm to hit anything. It needs to be exactly where it needs to be vertically, so that this portion or this portion doesn't hit the door, doesn't hit the frame, or isn't being stressed to hit itself. Okay, so that's important to know, and that's easy. In my method by which I install these, if I'm installing more than 2, I'm going to make a template the first time. I'll cut a block of wood and mark all my holes so that I only have to lay it out once. And I will always, before I drill anything or even use a center punch, I will do a reality check on all the dimensions. I have installed door closers where I've drilled a hole right through the door, and I'm doing a top jam mount. Okay, so the body's up on the header, and I've got a hole in the door for the closer body. Didn't do a good reality check. I wish I would have. It's hard. The point being is that it's hard to disguise those holes. There's really nothing to do with it except run a bolt through it or just leave it. And if it's a fire rated door, it's probably not technically a problem in terms of the fire rating, but your client may not be very happy about having one too many holes. Anyway, double check, do a reality check. That's what I do. There's also references there in terms of where the arm is to be, where the shoe is to be located. You can see that. And then from there you can lay out the rest of the dimensions based on the template. Okay. There's always going to be a reference to the hand of the door that is being shown. If you're doing the opposite hand, flip everything around the other way. In particular, meaning they're showing this to be installed on a right-hand door, so that to your application, this is what you're staring at. This is going to be towards the hinge. This is the pull side of the door. Okay. Now, once you've got all your holes drilled, prepped, tapped, whatever the condition is, before you really start to test anything, you're going to want to review how the valves are controlled. Clockwise will slow it down, decrease the flow of fluid. Counterclockwise will increase it. As you adjust those, adjust one at a time, and you might have to go back and adjust the other 1 or 2 and cycle it 2 or 3, 4 times. Never turn the valve more than a half of a turn at a time, and absolutely never turn it clockwise so far that it's obvious that it's probably going to come out, because this is under pressure on the inside of this. Okay, so based on the chart that you're looking at, you can see, moving to the spring tension, based on the interior or exterior qualification of the door, based on the door width, is how many turns from stock or from the standard when it ships from the factory you're supposed to rotate that. So this 412 is capable of handling an interior door of 4.5 feet, which would be incredibly unusual. But the fact of the matter is, this is the bigger closer versus the 411. It can handle that bigger size door. And if you have a 3'6" or a 4-foot door, this is certainly the one you want to start with. You're going to get that spring tension rotated clockwise with the Allen wrench based on the chart. You're going to want to test. Okay? Test your, and then adjust accordingly. The installation instructions call out most of what I've just gone through. Select the degree of opening, drill your holes, regulating speed towards the hinge edge. Okay. These valves are what they're calling the regulating speed towards the hinge. attach, connect, fasten, adjust, begin to test. And that's really everything. The back check is defined there. Okay. All of the other pieces and items are called out. We've talked about discovering, what they're called, so that as you read the installation instructions, you can see what's happening. The name Global is synonymous with door closers, high quality door closers, exit devices, hinges, lock sets. I wouldn't hesitate to suggest that you use their products. I've had a very good track record of them with clients. I don't have failures at least nothing comes to mind. I would use it personally and would certainly support your decision to do so as well. There's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up the full line catalog and view all of their material. Okay. It's handy because you'll see the other items that they sell as well. Hinges, aluminum storefront hardware, aluminum continuous geared hinges, things of that nature. So, with that, I leave you. If there are any questions on the Global Door TC412, slim cover adjustable door closer with a back check valve, or any other Global product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.